Welcome to the Willpower Hour podcast, where we help new entrepreneurs elevate their life through personal development, starting with the mindset. I am William Chapman III. I am a newly father. I am an entrepreneur. I am a real estate investor, and I'm a group home operator. And I also teach other people how to get into the group home industry. But today, what we're going to talk about is the reason why we're starting this podcast. So I just want to give you a little bit of insight. The reason why we're starting this podcast is based off me and everything I do every day, every morning, the same way to be able to jumpstart my day. So the Willpower Hour podcast came about because of someone considering me as a motivational speaker and a mindset coach. Now, if I have to tweak this, I would say that I'm an encourager before I'm a motivator. I feel like I bring that smooth encouragement to a person. I'm really more chill, relaxed, and nurturing. So that's why I consider myself an encourager. And I guess you can say that at some point I do become a motivator once I have given you that encouragement. Now, the Willpower Hour podcast really came about because of one of my mentors. I always say that every mentor needs a mentor. You know, people consider me as strong, people consider me as a motivational person, mindset coach and all these great things, but I have my battles with certain things as well. So there are certain people that I need to lean on to be able to continue to grow and push forward at times. I'm human. I'm not going to sit here and act like I am, always 100% on the right path. Sometimes, I drift off, but I am able to get myself back on track at times because of my daily routines and the things I do. So I'm going to just read something to you so you can kind of get a grip of where this Willpower Hour podcast came from. Because I like to give credit where it's due, and I like to give my flowers to people, while they still here on earth. So I'm going to tell you a little story. So one day, so I met my mentor. My mentor, we met at a gathering of a mutual sister of ours. In the group home industry. Shout out to Lynette Wheaton. So, I had never met this man in a day of my life, but he flew all the way down from Atlanta to Houston to support her with her grand opening. And from that point, he did nothing but provide value. Like when he introduced himself, his background, his history, what he do, and even talking to me one-on-one about some things in the real estate market. So we kind of built a bond from there. But over time, I guess as we talked or he watched me talk and give, valuable information in one of the groups that we are in, he kind of, I guess, noticed some things about me. And one day he said, hey, have you ever thought about perfecting actually he didn't even say have I thought about it. He said, I need to perfect my craft as a mindset coach. And of course I'm like, I thought about it, but I ain't really into, really doing that. And he like, Will, you need to do this and you need to consider yourself a mindset coach. So of course some days and months went by with that. But one morning, I believe I texted him one morning. No, he texted me out of nowhere. Actually at 5:41 in the morning. And he said that during his meditation time, I permeated on his brain. So he was thinking about me that morning. And he ended up saying, hey, good morning. Your new brand name is Mindset Will. And the name of your podcast is The Willpower Hour. Mindset Will is a motivational speaker who speaks on the importance of shifting your mindset to achieve all of your personal goals, especially as it relates to building wealth. Your podcast will interview people on the mindset they had prior to starting their business and the mindset they had to have in order to be successful in their business endeavors. I found that to be pretty unique, strong, deep, valuable, that somebody is thinking about me early in the morning during their meditation time. So everything he said, I went ahead and ran with it. The only thing is you probably may not see me walk around saying I'm Mindset Will. If anything, I'm going to push being a personal development advocate or a community advocate or an encourager before anything. But in reality, I try to stay away from putting names on certain things. And I just try to be myself. Because I try not to force things. Now, he and other people might say that I have the wrong mindset about it. But that's just how I like to look at it. I like to come organic and natural and not really put too many names. I just want to be William Chapman III. And when people hear William Chapman III, they know that I am a nurturer. They know I'm an advocate. They know that I'm genuine with any and everything that I do, and I provide value, at the greatest extent. So that's kind of what this podcast came about. And of course, me being who I am, I'm always trying to shift somebody's perspective. I know growing up as a young person, with not having my father there 15 years because he was incarcerated, growing up in a single mother home, with my mother who was battling some issues as well, just being a single parent, and my grandmother. I really don't even know if my grandma ever battled things because she never shows it. She's one of those people, she don't show it, but I'm pretty sure I know behind closed doors those tears probably rolled down her eyes, and she probably did stress about some things, but she never let us know it as kids or whatever. So, with that being said, the things I do as far as, when it comes to personal development, I'm very intentional about it and I'm big on it because I know where personal development have transformed my life. The mindset that I have and the vision and outlook and the strength and the ability to be able to give back and be of value to other people, I never had that outlook, before 18. I don't know what happened. I just know that I wanted better, I wanted different, and I wanted to convert my life because I was always in trouble. I was always, just being hard-headed and defiant to other people. So I just wanted to change. And where personal development really came in at is I went to a conference in Atlanta, Georgia. That was my first conference. That was my first introduction to anything business-like, which was really a personal development event, but they also talked about business as well. That's back when I had my party runner business. I didn't have no coach, no mentor, nobody showed me nothing about business. Nobody showed me how to get into the party runner business. I just went off of my own ability to learn and eagerness to want to do this based off of what I seen a Hispanic mother and Hispanic young son doing one day in San Antonio at a function. But I'll save that for another episode. So I went to this event in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was by the Circle of CEOs. So shout out to the Recession Proof family, him 500, Mr. 2 Weeks Out, all of them. Shout out to them. So I went to this personal development, I guess you could say conference, Circle of CEOs, and I'm one of the people. I think everything is skeptical. So I gotta watch back, I gotta look, pay attention, see how they coming. Like, I'm always like, nobody better not be trying to sell me nothing. Of course, that might be a bad mindset at that time. So I'm going through the conference and I'm watching how everything is flowing. You have the guy Justin Owens up there, he's pushing personal development. He's shifting your mind, he's building your mind, and he's just encouraging people to be a better version of themselves. And then you have another person coming in talking about personal development, probably not to the extent as him because he's like that leadership coach. Then you have a few other people talking about different things of their life, testimonials and things like that, and then boom, at the end, him 500 come with an offer. It was about a $21,000 offer for people to get into their inner circle they was going to build. So when they made that offer, I seen literally hundreds of people out of thousands of people get up out of the crowd and walk to the back room they was directing people in. And don't get me wrong, I felt like crap. I'm like, man, I can't go and invest that. Like, everything they offering, I needed that as a new entrepreneur. And I had it to spare based off my business, but that would have been all of my 20 grand that I had made from my party running business. And I think as a business owner, we got to think smart. Like, things happen. If I go and spend all my money over here, what happens if I end up, needing it for whatever reason, or not sales, the customers, the leads, slow down or whatever the case may be. So I was in a crowd, my heart pounding fast, and I'm just upset. Like I couldn't, move forward on that. But one of the things I took from that is I'm like, man, look, that's crazy how the power of personal development works. They was able to pump people up, and not really pump people up like they just being salesy. I think a lot of people in there needed to be pumped up and be exposed to personal development to help them shape their mindset and strengthen their mindset so they can make a move on an opportunity that's given. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, well, if a person can come to a business conference, business/personal development conference, and be pushed and driven by personal development, motivation, encouragement, and things like that. Imagine what those same people in that room and other people who are not in the room can do if they use personal development in their everyday life outside of business. So I start thinking. So that's when I got hooked on personal development, and I started researching more about it, and I come to realize personal development wasn't nothing that I wasn't doing or that I hadn't been doing. It's just it had a cool name to it, which is personal development. But in reality, it's really the same thing as self-development. So I realized I've been self-developing since I graduated high school. So 18, 19, 20 years old up, all the way until I went to that conference. I believe I was about 27 or 28 when I went to that conference. So that's when I started pushing personal development. I started researching about what successful, wealthy people do. One of the things they said is that people wake up early. Okay, cool, I can do that. I already wake up, about 5 o'clock in the morning around that time. Let me challenge myself and wake up a little bit earlier than that. That way I can have more time to work on myself. And I started doing that all the way through, EMT school, paramedic school, and I was real successful with that model. So what it looked like for me was I used to get up I started off at 5 o'clock in the morning when I went to EMT school. And then I pushed it to 4 o'clock in the morning for paramedic school because it was going to get difficult and tough, and I needed more time to be able to study all the materials and information. So I ended up getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and what that looked like was I would study for about 3 hours, and then I would go work out so I can get that mental workout and physical, so I can purge all the information that I just tried to, intake, because the brain works in mysterious ways. The brain will filter out things that's not important at the time, and keep things that is important to it at the time as well. So I would work on myself, which is work with school, handle that, the schoolwork. Or I would, write down quotes, or I would journal a little bit. Because writing is one of my key things, but I'll tell you a little bit where that come from. And then I'll go work out, I'll come back, shower, and then I'll go to class. So I just started doing it over and over again until it became a lifestyle. So right now, I'm still waking up about between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing this over and over. And this has helped me in business because it allows me enough time in the day, time in the morning to get up, make my tea, work on myself, whether that's make a post, come up with some type of quote to be able to encourage not only myself but other people, because I realize when I pour into other people, it's like a boomerang effect back to me. Well, if I tell somebody else to do something, it's a boomerang effect back on me, because it's like, hey, well, I can't tell you to do something and I don't do it. So it kind of holds me accountable in a sense. So I would do stuff like that, then I'll work on some business tasks, and then after about 3 hours, I'll go to the gym. And once I go to the gym, shower up, and then I start my day out in the field, doing business stuff like marketing and meeting with people and things like that. So that is pretty much where the willpower hour come from. So you can look at it two ways. You can look at it as willpower hour, or sacrifice things that seem desirable to you in the present for a later reward. So, for instance, let's say you are on a journey and you're supposed to be trying to lose weight and eat right. Well, somebody walking through this door right now with a burger, and I have my broccoli, my chicken breast, and a small amount of carbs right here because I'm trying to eat healthy. Well, I gotta bite that bullet from trying not to eat that cheeseburger because I know I need to be trying to lose weight or maintain a health status. So if you can push past that and not take that cheeseburger and continue to eat your food, that is basically, willpower. Delayed gratification over instant. You delaying the gratification of what you want in the present for a later reward. So you can either look at it as that, or you can look at it as willpower hour. My power hour, which my power hour is early in the morning, straight out of my sleep for the first 3 hours when nobody is up. My phone not ringing, and if my phone ringing, it's because of my accountability partners, or it's my mentees, or it's people in my group that I am also encouraging to get up, be productive early in the morning before the world wakes up. So that's what the willpower hour is for. I am just grateful of the transition or the transformation that I have had in the past 10 years. I push personal development deeply, but I don't push it enough. I'm about to start because I understand what it has done for me. A lot of people who watch this, they might know me or knew me. I'm gonna say knew me because a lot of people think they know me, but you really don't. You knew of who I used to be. But people who knew of me know that I probably was a knucklehead, or I probably was living a fast life, or I was doing this and that and the third. I'm not the most gangster person, or I wasn't the baddest person, but I did make bad decisions, and I owned up to it. But I shifted and started getting on that other side because I wanted to lead people one day, and not really just lead people. I wanted to be a better version of myself. That way I can lead other people, especially my future child or children that I will have. So I know what personal development has done for me, starting with the mindset. I have had a messed up mind before. I remember just growing up, I used to always say, the way I act is because I always, because I was born like that. And I realized that, most people are not born the way that they might say they are born. Matter of fact, you're not born in no way. You don't have bad habits nor good. But once you are brought into this life, your brain starts to absorb anything you are exposed to. Literally. So I started to realize when I started doing research and digging deep about human behavior, especially about the mindset, because what we exposed to, it can be either beneficial or detrimental. And obviously what we exposed to can dictate our thought process, and our thought process can dictate our emotions, and our emotions can dictate our behaviors. And when I start realizing that pattern, I start realizing, well, I done a lot of things when I was younger, or I was angry about a lot of things when I was younger because of a certain situation. But when I learned to let it go and embrace it and use it as empowerment, I started to elevate my life. So the shift in my mindset has been great, but I couldn't have done it without really knowing and understanding that that is what I really want to do. And part of this podcast is going to be primarily or foundationally, I don't even know if that's a word, but on a foundation level, we're going to talk about all things personal development, starting with the mindset. Because people have to understand that personal development is the foundation to any and everything you do, no matter if it's businessship, partnership, relationship, friendship, whatever. If you are not right, you cannot be right for other people. So with that being said, if you don't fix I, then you can't fix we, they, them, and us. So with that being said, anybody out there, if you feel like you need some fine tuning with your mindset, Be open to it. Even for myself, who I think I am strong enough mentally, especially way stronger than I was before, I still feel like I need fine tuning. And honestly, every person does. It don't matter who you are. You have to consistently build and expound upon, the positives. So like building your mindset and being a better version of yourself. Because if you neglect it and let it go and just think it's going to be automatic, it's not. Unfortunately, the way the mind works and the way the world works in general, anything left to itself will go left. So you have to put more work into staying on the right track. That's one thing I learned. So you have to consistently build upon your mindset, build upon your habits that you have, your emotions, your everything. Unfortunately, if we don't put more effort into the positive things, it will lead us to the negative. So please don't neglect that. Understand that no matter how strong you think you are, you can always be taught something. You can always be encouraged to continue to build on top of whatever you have. Because one thing I've learned is that everybody is strong until life comes slapping them right in the face. Even for myself. And I'm a person, I never used to express myself when I was younger. You could not get me to express myself. But I realized expressing yourself does a lot. And, life can expose you. But things happen in life. And it's not really about what happens. It's about how you handle that situation. You got to be resilient with most things in life. Well, not most things, everything in life that comes knocking on your front door, slapping you right in the face. So stay open to building your mindset. I'm not going to say I feel. I know that is the foundation to anything you want to do. So for anybody who's young, that is going through a life-changing event, that's going through struggles, that's hanging in areas or environments where, it might not be the best for their growth, knowing they want to do better for their life, start changing your mindset. Pay attention to the things that you intake. And there's a saying that goes by, what entertains you will train you. And that is a true statement. You are really who you hang around. No matter what you say, to a certain extent, you will be who you hang around. If you want to be a millionaire, you go hang around millionaires. Will you become a millionaire right away? No. But you will learn the foundational millionaire pieces to get to becoming a millionaire. If you want to be, a low down or somebody who ain't doing nothing with themselves, really you could just go stand in the area and you're going to see that it's not much that you need to do over there and you're going to be right in that category. So get around people, get in environments, watch certain videos, listen to certain music that has great benefit on what you want to do and how you want to do it. Because I'm going to just leave it at that. Elevate your life. Keep an open mindset. Get in the areas where you are best supported so you can continue to elevate your life. If you found any value in this podcast, please like, share, comment, and even subscribe. Send it out to some friends. Most definitely send this out to the youth. Like literally. My goal is to reach the youth, for one. 2, reach new entrepreneurs. And 3, anybody who wants to elevate their life that feel like they can benefit from personal development talks. My goal is to bring on entrepreneur or business professionals and regular professionals. Like you don't even have to be business. You can be a school principal somewhere. You can be a CEO of Popeyes or something. I just want to hear from some type of professional because I want to learn where a person mindset was before they started something. What their mindset was during that process and what their mindset is after the process, because believe it or not, there are some key factors in every stage of that, before, the middle, and after. Especially when you're pursuing something and you're going through things. And It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of resilience. It takes a great mindset. It takes courage, confidence, willpower. It takes a lot of things to be able to pursue something, overcome it, and still keep your sanity. So, with that being said, like, share, subscribe, and comment how you feel about this. If you found value, please most definitely need to subscribe and send this out to about 5 people for me. And we'll see you on the next episode. Stay tuned.